Hi, Neil.
I'm just wondering, you spoke before about Derek Doyle having spoken to Patrick Bamford and him explaining his view on international football. I'm just wondering, on foot of him not making a preliminary 33-man squad and his age and us not having a regular scorer playing at a high level, is that something you have considered revisiting and making a direct approach to?
I think it's probably, a bit, he was very close to being in the, probably, he's in the scheme of things for, in contention maybe for England for the European Championships. So, I think it's not realistic to suggest that now at the moment. I would feel, I think that was obviously his objective to go to the European Championships with England. I think there's no doubt he's a very good player. He's a quality centre forward, but we have to believe in the talent that we have, and that we have to work to improve it and get better. And it's unusual for players to switch nationality. I'm not saying it never happens, but so quickly after just a situation just been left out of a tournament so quick, it hasn't. There's not many instances of that. People normally it's over a longer period, but so that's what I would say.
You may feel as the second highest thing to score in the Premier League and just making a provisional squad, that might lead to a change in opinion on things.
No, I really don't know. I really don't know. I think he is a good player, but he's not a. He doesn't. His objective was clearly to play for England, so we have to respect that.
Gavin Cooney, please.
Hi Stephen, you've talked in the build-up to this game about needing to be more penetrative with your passing, and you've also called up 3 number 10s in Sam Smodics, Jamie McGrath and Donny Mandrea. Is playing someone in that position, do you think, help answer those problems as regards penetration and passing?
If you watch the Serbia game back, certainly it's not an issue. We penetrated, played some really brilliant football in that game, and so passages of play where we sort of dominated possession, and they had passages of play where they did, but they're an excellent team. But we played really well, and we passed the ball with real penetration. Against Luxembourg, we didn't get that right. I think some of our players, our midfield players, overall, need to look forward more. You would say, definitely quicker and earlier, and sometimes are conservative in their passing, and that's. And we've seen Josh Cullen, for example, change really in that, because I initially, having watched him at Charlton and watched him, he's always sort of a very honest, tenacious player who gave you everything and was a good footballer, but his range of passing was limited. But I noticed now, particularly since he's moved to Anderlecht, much more progressive with his passing and plays forward earlier, showing a greater range of passing, and he has the ability, and he has the ability to do that. So, but other players as well, some of our young players as well coming through, need to look forward earlier. And pass with real penetration, and that's been one of the themes of this week, as well. One of the central points that we've wanted to illustrate, if you like, and and highlight. So that's been important.
And my last question is: do you and the players expect to beat Andorra tomorrow, or has the run of bad luck?
No, it is. Of course, we want to win tomorrow, and we expect to win tomorrow. Andorra had a famous win in 2018 when they beat Hungary in a World Cup qualifier. It just shows you how well Hungary done from that, because they're going to the European Championships now. So that was obviously was a low point for Hungary, and they turned it around, and you know, I can imagine that wasn't to lose was in a World Cup qualifier like that was difficult for them, and yet they've managed to turn that round and top their Nations League group and go into the qualify for the European Championships. So it's you never take anything for granted. Nobody gives you anything. You have to earn the right to win. They're set up in a way they don't concede that many chances in the recent windows in the matches. But we've got to we've got to go, and our expectation is that we'll win, and that's clearly our objective.
Thanks, Stephen.
Thanks.
Okay, only 4 minutes left, so please bear that in mind. Only one question each, if possible, to get through the people who want to ask a question. Dylan, if you can fire ahead.
Yeah, just a quick one here, Stephen. I was watching your 21s earlier, and I could see what you're doing, the division of the pass and move football. And I just want to ask, how closely are you working with Jim Crawford, Tim Mohan, and James Donoghue?
With Jim Crawford and Tom Mohan and Jason Donoghue, how closely are we working? Obviously, we don't work on the training ground together because obviously we're in different windows. For example, in September, Jim will have his under-21 games at the same time as I am, so he'll have the camp, and he has his camp at the moment, and he's doing all he can to with a new group of players to get them ready for September for the qualifiers. So, we do have we do shared ideas with all of the teams from 15s up, and that's been consistent, and that's helped us have it's helped us with the progression of a lot of the players over the last year, and certainly that's a positive. As you know, Tom Mohan himself, he done terrific and with the under-19s in the European Championships. So and Colin O'Brien and Paul Osam as well, and Jason Donoghue and Jim Crawford. So Andy Reid was in there for a good time as well, and managing. So they were all very progressive coaches, and they're all an important part of the Irish international setup.
Dan McDonald, please.
Hi, Stephen. How are things?
Right.
Stephen, just looking at the Qatar game, I know there was an element of the third game of the window, and you were giving guys a game and so on, but you did bring in Shane Duffy and James McLean and some of the more senior players who you mentioned the other day, the influence particularly of Shane and James and their desire to be there. Do you think, even in this time of transition, that the younger players can benefit from being on the pitch with these players, with these older players? And is that something that you're looking for maybe in these two games, to strike a balance and give those, not a reward for turning up as well, but just actually to use their experience to be on the pitch?
Yeah, well, I think the idea of Qatar that the experienced players replace the younger players is overall probably not accurate, but because Shane Duffy came in for Kieran Clark, he's actually older than him, and then James McLean came in for Enda Stevens, so two very experienced players. James Collins, Shane Long came in for James Collins, certainly, and Cyrus Christie came in for Matt Doherty. So it's likewise is older than. So I think it wasn't probably in the midfield area. Admittedly, we did pick younger, in against Luxembourg. So that would have been the area, all right. But listen, all the players have a lot to contribute. Listen, and all the players have had good conversations this week, and with all of the staff, and certainly a lot of open conversations, and I think that sure, all of the younger players, they need role models, and they have. They've got plenty in the squad here, plenty of experienced players who have had good careers because they've had terrific attitudes and great values, and they need those role models, and it's great that we have them in the squad, and because they want to make sure their journey as professional players is that they reach their full potential. That has to be, they have to have a real desire to do that, and talent alone is not enough. Talent alone is not enough. You've got to have an incredible attitude to consistently to go and do it.
Last two from Paul Lennon and then Paula Hare, please.
Stephen, I know you've got a lot of younger, inexperienced players involved, but looking at your squad, you can still play a very experienced team. And given that you obviously want to win, would be more looking at playing a fairly experienced team with the real objective to go and win this game.
I think to be a balance, Paul. I think it'd be fair to say, I think it'd be a balance between youth and experience. That's sort of the makeup of the squad, and I think so. Definitely, definitely. It's a game that, of course, that we're looking to win. You're right. We're not hiding behind that. We want to win the game, and but other players have done well in recent camps or recent games. Likes of Darragh O'Shea, and that's been very, very, very accomplished. And sometimes you have to reward people when they do well like that as well, and that's part of it also.
Yeah, just one final one from me. Is it with game like this usually would be at the end of the season, really no pressure, but do you feel a bit of pressure, Stephen, because of the fact of the 11 game winless streak?
Well, listen, I feel that it's a match I want to win. I feel, a bit, disappointed that we haven't won the last few games, for sure. And we want to get back to winning ways, and we want to create a habit of winning, and I think that's important. And I think it is a game that we want to win tomorrow for sure.
And we'll just finish up with one from Paula Hare, please.
Stephen, how you doing?
How you doing?
Not really connected with the match tomorrow as such, but just the Euros. Can you go to the Euros in terms of having a look at Portugal and their games ahead of the September game?
Just discussing that at the moment, Paul. So just waiting for feedback on that. Obviously, they're in our group. We have our first game in September as Portugal. It's great to see them. Terrific team, really. And but we have 9 points to play for in September. So they're tough games. Portugal, Azerbaijan, obviously, and Serbia. So we want to. It's very important for us that. We want to have a good window in September. So I would like to see it, and that would be ideal, definitely. So I'm in the process of discussing that. Yeah.